Many our guests ask the difference between the coffee beans being natural or being washed. What's the difference in the flavor between washed and natural? We're going to explain that to you right now. After the harvest, a producer has some tough decisions to make. He's going to do the beans natural or wash. In many times, they already knows the plot or the area or the varietal they want to do a natural or wash. A natural beans, after the harvest, the producer bring all the beans to the patio or to a deck, which is a concrete. So they put the coffee over there so the coffee can dry out, take the humidity out. But very important, because if it rains, he cannot do that. But he needs someone to go there several times a day to keep moving the coffee, because the heat of the sun plus the heat of the cement can create a sweating and a fermentation which can damage the coffee bean. So after the coffee is dry in the patio, they move the coffee to the water house. And from there, the coffee, it is the skin, the processing, the machine, the skin comes out very easy of the coffee bean. There is a lot of now, very common in Africa, they use the raised bed. They use the raised bed because it is, you preserve water, knowing that the coffee, you can cover the beans in the days the rains, or sometimes because the high elevation can be foggy and you don't want the humidity to get in the coffee. But on the raised bed, the beans can dry from the top and from the bottom, and just need someone to go there maybe once a day to just move the coffee around so get plenty air. A wash beans, after the harvest, get in the truck, go to the main plant, which is the machine to start washing the beans, and not only that, to start separating the beans from all the colors, the size, and even the leaves and all the kind of stuff that comes during the harvest with the coffee beans. From there, the machine start the high vibration, start peeling the skin of the coffee until the bean get into the fruit comes out and becomes just a real bean. And after the wash, after being the skin removed, the beans needed to be dry out. They put in a drum and can go a couple days. If it's raining, it takes a much longer because the humidity. And the producer, they use the skin of the fruit that was dry to make the heat to burn during the momentum that the drum is running. And now they're testing another technique. They're using a cold drum instead of hot air, just the cold air, because they believe they preserve a lot of flavor. Now the beans are ready to be served or to be roasted. And the difference between on the flavor, when the beans are washed, you're gonna find a lot of caramel, chocolate, molasses, honey, some tropical fruit, some citrus, and because the wash lower the acidity of the beans. A natural bean, you're gonna find a lot of tropical fruit like berries, strawberries, melons, and all those real good fruits that you're gonna encounter because the coffee was dry. The sugar content is much higher sometimes than the coffee when it's washed because the temperature of the sun. When you drink the coffee, you're gonna see the difference. And Cedric gonna explain to you now the variables and the dynamic when you roast those beans, what he tried to explore the most of the coffee.
So I'm going to be talking about washed and natural coffees. Now, both of them have like pros and cons, but they're both like very delicious, can do wonderful things to coffee. Now with washed, a lot of farms would choose to do washed just because it's easy, it's simple, the weather isn't really a factor, and then when you brew it and drink it, it's like becomes a cleaner cup. With the natural, Now, with the natural, one of the great things about it is there's more sugars that permeate through the coffee. So when you're brewing a cup, it's sweeter. So you can have like two of the same exact coffee beans, one washed, one natural, same farm, same everything, but you're going to have two slightly different tasting coffees. The natural should taste a little sweeter, but you're also going to have a little variety. It's going to have different notes just because there's going to be what we call Quakers. Quakers are going to be coffee that's not really good. Think of it as like, say, your like mussels or clams that don't open up. You don't want that stuff. So with naturals tend to have a little more Quakers, where the washed is cleaner. All that stuff that you don't want is gone. So it becomes like a nice clean cup of coffee, but you're not going to get that sweetness. Now, when I'm roasting this stuff, it definitely makes a difference on how I roast it too. With washed coffee, I definitely have, it can take a little more abuse, you know. When it's natural, I tend to go a little low and slow, or it's easier to burn because of the sugars in that coffee. So those are like the two main differences. Hopefully soon you get a chance to taste those types of coffees, and just come on down to Samba Latte, and hopefully we'll have something for you to try out. So this one right here, I've got a washed coffee from Samambaya. Now, definitely, of course, it tastes like coffee. You get the chocolate and nutty notes, but cleaner cup. So all around, I mean, it's really pleasant, and slightly, I say there's a slight little juiciness to it. All right, and this one right here, this one's a natural from Kashambu. Now, definitely sweeter, but you still get like, I still get like a little slight astringency, and that's just coming from the Quakers. But it's still a really good coffee. I think for a lot of people, it really depends on what kind of flavors that you like. Some people are just washed coffee 100%. Some people just really love the sweetness and sometimes fruitiness of natural coffee. So it just really depends on your flavor.
Now that you saw what Cedric does to extract to make the best profile of each beans, one thing to make it easy for you to understand, when you sip a washed coffee, you're gonna taste more the the fresh fruit. The coffee one is a natural, the dry fruit. Both coffee are beautiful, delicious. It's just a matter of choice, and just a matter sometimes to find, because one thing to understand, for you to do a natural, you need a lot of patio to do that. And when you do a wash, it's much easier. Thanks for watching. Sip, savor, and socialize. Thanks for watching.